Hey, welcome all. Once again, here's a really unfancy video on some fancy building tricks. This particular episode I'm going to focus on Halloween. Now, I'm not too sure if I've got all the materials. It always pays to make sure you do have enough to carry on with your build. But what I wanted to show you, I see a lot of square buildings, and the Halloween set, basically everything's just square. So what I'm going to do is show you some Victorian style buildings which really do lend itself to a bit of spookiness. Alright, I'll go and get some materials and I'll be right back. Heidi ho, back again, and I've got some materials now, so let me show you what I mean when I say a Victorian house. You'll find that most houses have, back in the day, had some sort of round turret. Now there are plenty of videos out there on how to build something round. I've got a 13-sider, a 16-sider, but the one I'm going to use for a Victorian house is an octagon. So I'm going to try and put it over to the edge a bit. It's up to you where you want your turret for the house. It may be to the side, it may be in the middle. It's completely up to you, but with an 8-sided building there are some tricks to remember, and it can get a little awkward when it comes to trying to sort out the dimensions and the matchup of the walls. It can get really tricky because an octagon's a little bit bigger than just 2 by 2 by 2 by 2 by 2 by 2, if you get what I mean. So I'll make some room here. And we'll stick our blueprint that I've made previously. I'll try and make it so that it's front on, right? So if I want this to be the front, then I'll try and make that as flush as possible. So this will be my front door, and to mark it, to make life easier for myself, always put a foundation in like that. And that way we can tell what's going on. Okay, so that's going to be our front door. Where are we going to build off? If we're going to build off to the side, you really want to take the 90-degree platform to your first layout. So skip a beat, lay your first one, skip a beat, there's your second one. Okay, depending on the size of your building, you may want to have a 4-square setup here, but basically this is the only part that's going to attach to this turret. Okay, now we can start doing the wall thing. I'm sure you guys are enthralled watching me do this. Won't be long. Here we go. So depending on the size and shape of your building, you might decide 2's enough. You can go higher, of course, 3. But bear in mind that your only entrance point is here, so really be mindful of where you put your floors, etc. So if you're going to put in a traditional stairway, such as one of these, it can get a little tricky in a 4x4. So you really may want to consider extending it out at least one more. In that situation, you can use the old-fashioned stairs. If you want to use the this trick, where you would put it right up against, say, a wall, by doing that, then that, and then put a stair in. The difficulty you'll find is putting a floor on later, because what will happen is that the floor will always center to the stair, so it becomes very awkward. I don't recommend you do that for this kind of build. So we'll go back to where we were. Da-doom, da-doom, and the walls. And the stair, and use the magic replace. Then we have some floors happening. Once we've got that matched up, then it is a lot easier to put some kind of flooring system up here. Now you can either do it this way, and it gets a bit mishmash because you can't fit it all in, right? Or we can use the system we used before. And if we're lucky, the floor will just slot in, but maybe not today. I also note that if I got rid of that, you can also still build a structure off it. So for example, even though a floor won't attach to that in no way, shape or form, a stair will. And it gives you something to walk around, you know, or to climb up. So we'll put that wall back down. Whoops. Replace these guys. I reckon now, as far as we'll make that a window for now. As far as this part is concerned, if you really want to extend it out, you can, but just be aware that edge there does not marry up with this edge here, so it can get quite messy. You'd really need to bring it out to here, and what you will find is that the floor will not match the other side, because I'll show you inside there is a gap. So you can see there's quite a deficit there, and there's no way that's going to work. So hence we only use the one side, because there is this hole. Alright, now seeing as we've got an upper layer here, we may want to do a second layer of flooring and walls. So we'll pop our walls up. and maybe even another layer up top. Okay, so we have quite the parlour. The effect is quite nice. It looks really nice with the striped wallpaper going all the way up. When it comes to Halloween, I'm not adverse to using really bright, ridiculous wallpapers because, you know, sometimes it can be really horrifying. Trick or treat. So we'll replace this one as well. So we're very clear about what's going on in here. For this little issue here, I'll probably want to power this. Put a conduit down here that's movable and transportable, because it will actually power up the bulk of this area. So that's a cunning little ploy, and once you've done the conduit and moved it there, cover it with a mat. We are going to use these kinds of walls for interior, because it's just so much easier for the double door thing. So straight away you can see we've got something happening. I think I will make that one a window and keep that as a door. Get rid of that now. Sorry, this one has to be a door in order for me to move the foundation. All of them have to be doors, don't they? Doesn't want to do it. Tricky, tricky. So, for this area here, what I would do is I would put in some sort of balcony. Probably go for that one. Turn that around. Maybe using this technique and give it a little peek. It gives off a quite a pleasant shape in the end. And from there, what I would probably do actually is probably put in another one, but make it a corner. To give off that, you know, shape. You want to give it some form. So the entire building is looking interesting now. It's not just straight and square and flat everywhere. It's got this neat silhouette and some neat little tricky places to hide things. Pretty easy to power up. What I want to do before we go is talk about roofs. With the Halloween build, we have these fancy roofs, so we can either have a flat roof like so, or we can do the corner roof, or we can do the old Victorian, there's a secret attic kind of roof. So let's take the secret attic one, because what I want to do is talk to you about using the fog machine in particular with the secret attic roof. The thing with using an active item like that in the in a build is that you have to have access to it. Okay, so like there's no point building something under a stair or anything else where when you log on you can't get access to it. Okay, now most of these old Victorian houses with a room like that, having a look at some old movies like the Addams Family, you'll see smoke and bats and whatnot coming out of the top turret, right? So what I've done here is I've basically centered this Halloween fog machine on top of a flat roof. Now what I'm going to do is change the roof, and that machine will stay there while the roof stays looking exciting. Okay, coming out here to have a look, and it genuinely looks like it's coming out of the attic. Okay, great little trick for Halloween that, and it's effective. The other thing I've done is create a floating building. Check out my video for that, and I've stuck this right underneath it and giving off the illusion of a cloud coming along, you know, and the whole building's floating on that cloud. So for myself, I'd probably want to put some stairs here, and definitely get into the defences for decoration. This particular one I adore. I love the flowers, the ivy, sorry. I think it's a great finish. It's a shame they didn't have a pretty one with yellow flowers or roses on it or something. I think that would have looked great. Exceed it again. So we'll finish off our defence because I think it looks pretty, yeah. That's got me annoyed, that one. But we can work that out later. The other thing that you could quite easily do, if you don't mind this particular shape being lost, it is a simple matter of just deleting all of these. Now if I delete all of these, what I end up with is a square floor that juts out, and that can be quite convenient for adding decorations and whatnot, but for this particular build I just want to keep the shape. In future, of course, I won't be doing that. Typically, to get rid of that, I'll have to get rid of all the floors, and once I get rid of them, I can't put them back without rebuilding the whole blueprint, so be careful. I could also put in another set of floors, but I would love to show you another trick that I have engaged before. I want this to look like an alternative entrance, make it look quite grand actually with a sweeping thing. And one thing that is really hard when you're visiting other people's camps is to find the shelter. So here's a little trick I have. If you're going to create two or three entrances to your building, why not block one of the doors off? Make it look like it's meant to be the main entrance, but it's not. And what happens when you come up to this door? There's your shelter. It's right there in plain view, right in front. Okay, with any build, it's important to keep things visible and accessible. Just to show you guys what the door shelters look like, this is your mine. Then you get into your white doors, and this little concrete one is your silo, your missile silo. Your big builds include your atrium and lobby and quarters and server room, or you've got your mine one here, which I think is great, or you've got your silo one. This one actually looks really good as a cemetery. Might show you that if we get time. This is the only one we've got for a utility. I like to use the utility room, have it out here somewhere really in your face and public, so it's hard to miss. And I use my utility room I also put all the other doors to all the other shelters inside that utility room. People know it, they're familiar with it, they're not always familiar with a mine door or a mine shape or anything else. It can actually be right in your face and they wouldn't see it. So with that in mind, we've got a good Victorian shape happening, haven't we? I like it. I don't think we could replace that with a veranda, but it would have been fun. Now we can go up here and do the windows. We'll make pretend that they all used to be windows. Now I'd like to add something here. If this is about building a spooky house, you need to change things out. Having it all looking uniform and pretty like this just makes it look like an old building. It doesn't make it look spooky, in my opinion. So what I do is things like this. Swap it out, you know, make it look a little rough and under reconstruction. By swapping out a couple of walls, it can give it that really old abandoned feel, especially with that mine entrance right there, eh? Of course, we also have our wall decor, which is great for blocking off windows. You've got your single one, which I would probably put along the bottom here. And you also have a double one, which I use sometimes just to change things out. And at the top I like to leave a couple of windows open, starting from the second floor there. But now that's looking a lot more derelict and abandoned, I reckon. What do you think? Let's just change that wall out. Here we go. Now putting a ceiling on this thing involves using the flamer turret. And what I like to do while I'm doing all that is I build a bunch of roofs to help me get around. Just a flat roof. One there. Maybe one there. Actually, over here. And then what I can do is just use the marsupial power of jump. And I have reasonable access to the roof up here. Now, while it's very tempting just to keep using these, turret looking things, I would like to point out that using the same the attic roof on all 8 edges looks a little stupid, because all you really see are little houses poking out everywhere. So I like to alternate, and maybe just use the the attic on every other one. If we can. Hate it when it does that. But what you do is you'd use these attic ones change them back, and in the other ones just use an alternative. It gives it a break, you know, so you're not just looking at these funny looking addicts everywhere, and it looks quite effective. So now from a distance you've got the odd one, but if you've got them around the whole circle, it doesn't quite look right. You know, the old flowers in the attic scenarios blown out the water. So there's a couple of hints for you guys when it comes to building your spooky house. Lighting is really important, of course, and there are quite a few spooky things that we can use. Let's have a look at some of the appliances that are out and about. Now, of course, we've got our lantern, which gives off a lovely yellow glow. This gives off a bit of a whiter glow. Yellow, white, yellow, white, yellow, white. So spooky tends to be more yellow. These lights you don't need to power. And once you got your wallpaper on, it gives off a nice little glow. Yeah? And this is how you can light your house without messy wires, by using lit objects. There you go. And that corner of the room is lit without any generators or conduits required. Okay. Now I did talk about a conduit over here, and we'll just use that glitch that we're used to using. So we'll find ourselves a generator. Might be that you find that suitable, or that something spooky and creaky, and then of course we will need either a wall or a ground decoration. I'm going to use a wall one, and this little fruit, and then what I would do is place it on the wall, put a power connector there, and see if we can move it. Alright, now attach it to the power source, pick up the back object, move it once, and then we should be able to move it anywhere. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just actually pop it down here to keep it out of the way and build another one, and I'll show you why. Power connector, but this time I want to make sure that it is hooked up to the lower power conduit down here, because I don't want the wires showing above the floor. Okay, so pick up the back object, move it once, pick up the back object, and now I can drop it in here. And that should be powered. Let's find out if it is. Look at that. Lamp off, lamp on, lamp off, lamp on. And of course if I move this over here, you can see the reach that has, and the conduit that we have over here should give us a good reach. Over here probably not. because a conduit only takes, or does the area of the circle of about 4 tiles. So if I stand here, look up to about there and go around, you'll see the area that it covers, so the very corners can be a little tricky. Okay, now that we have that one fella there, we can just go crazy and put him anywhere. I might put one over the far side. Once again, we have a wall decoration or floor decoration, which we put a power conduit on top of. We then connect that to a power source, your most desired one. Move it once, pick up the back object, move it once, pick up the back object, and go wherever you want. I find this to be one of the most convenient methods of powering up a building. It just works. And the wire, where's the wire? There is no wire. That's the beautiful part of it. It's just not showing up, and now that lamp is lit. So I've shown you some tricks. I hope it works for you guys. Let's cover some of the stuff that's out there, eh? We'll see what we've got stored first. Dummies, of course, female or male mannequins. Always add for Halloween. I like to put them in surprise places. So like if you come in here, you're looking over there and then turn around and, oh, hello, someone's watching me. That can be quite effective. We have these little things, vases. They look really effective on a shelf, especially if you combine it with a concrete bust. It's kind of indicative of some sort of memorial. We also have this year, this is last year's Mothman Cultist tree trunk. I use that a lot at doorways, stairways, etc. I think it adds quite the ambience to a build like this, to a Halloween build. We have threatening signs that just warn people, you know, really, do you want to come here? Might be appropriate up here. We have all sorts of stash boxes, and of course for Halloween we've got an old Victorian style trunk, which kind of goes with the Victorian style house, and of course we have these fellas, which look great out in the open there. Not a problem. And I've got a neat little trick to show you with those. So you've built your fancy house, you've got your fancy room. Let's say we've got a bedroom over here somewhere. I put my fancy bed out. Try to go for one reasonably flat like that, if you can. I have done it with this one before. Sometimes it mucks up though. I'll show you what I mean. So we have our stash box or floor decor. The coffin comes as a floor decor as well. And I try and put it in, you know, fairly centre in the bed. Okay. The trick here is, watch this. Hopefully it works. I can go to bed, but I'm actually in the coffin. So to show you what it looks like, you can just see my backpack there. And if you happen to be in bed asleep when someone rocks up, it can give them the experience of a lifetime as you wake up and rise out of the coffin. So that's a nice little Halloween trick. What else have we got to show you? You see the bats floating around there. It looks great on the wall. The other thing that I like to use, especially if I have Maul as an ally, is probably, if you're going to take Maul as an ally, you probably want to get a bit gory with your build. So maybe a meat bag for a stash bag. We have things like a pile of meat everywhere, you know, you can make it really gross, and it really suits Maul. This is another popular one. I like to use this. If I put it around here so it looks like the hands are coming for you, and then we can cover that hole with it, you know. Maybe we can cover that hole with it. There we go. And that makes for a great effect. The other thing that we have is this fella. I think he's really cute. It's a little well. The sort of thing that probably should be right where that shelter is. It works really well. Oh, that's so funny. This is what this does. So you've got this creepy well. You don't get water from it. Okay, for a kickoff. Activate it. Great effects. Absolutely wonderful. So that always adds to the ambience. We have our captured frog in a jar, which is a scout project that you can earn, and it makes for a great background noise. Santa Claus, if you have Santa Claus, you may also have the cat. I like to put the cat in weird places, wherever it can go, usually on a couch or a bed, maybe even on a coffin. Of course, when you activate the cat, fantastic, isn't he? So next up, of course, this year we have the Spooky Halloween Bowl. Try and explain that one. It's this is last year's one. We used to put Halloween candy in. This year the bowl is a bit darker and you've got to do some different things. So if you have any leftover Halloween candy from last year, it's only good for the orange bowl. This year we have the black bowl, and if we use it we can add candy. No candy, one candy, all my candies. And in order for you to get candies, you have to kill Spooky Scorched or visit other people's camps and hope they've got candy in their bowl. I found this entire exercise to be really labour intensive and expensive because of the caps. So the trick I picked up on this was to join a team, travel to their camp for free, leave the team, join another team, travel to their camps for free, and it's about the cheapest way that you can get your daily quota of candy to give out to everyone, because not everyone enjoys spending caps coming to your camp to find the bowl is empty. So there you go for the candy. Now another thing they brought out, it's not really Halloween-y, but I want to show you because it's fairly new, and we got this on the scoreboard, and that is Fetch, a door Fetch. I think he's great. I like to put him out somewhere unobtrusive, you know, like a dog would be. Yes, it is a dog kennel, and there is Fetch. He will get up and he will move around and go woof woof woof. once he's settled in. Of course, the bear steins are great. There he goes. Great little dog. We have the fashion up bear steins from last year and this year going on there. But we've also got this one. Part of the grog neck. Set. Recently discovered I was able to build this. You'll see that there is also one on Malls there. I honestly can't tell you if it's a scoreboard thing or if I've bought it. I'm sorry. Another new gadget, of course, is we have to mention these stairs. Aren't they great? I think they're awesome. They give a lot of character. They work well in an older style house or an immersive build. They work very well. They really give it off the right atmosphere. And we have the Raven Perch, which I think is really cool, and something like this looks absolutely great up the top of here. You know, if you can do that. Oops. The other place that I have found that it works is, because here's another little trick. Let's say we get rid of that entire thing, you'll find that the defense balconies are still there, and then what you can do is pop in a concrete floor of a suitable attire. Like so. Now you have to get rid of the stairs because, believe it or not, there is a slight difference in height. It is marginal, but it's enough for you to have to move the stairs. And what you're ending up with is this neat little balcony without a roof, with those really cool defense systems there. And this is where this fella comes in. Now if you have a look at the base, you'll see how it's got a corner. So line the corner up. And that sort of makes this whole thing look complete. It's a nice little touch, don't you think? There's a whole lot more stuff that we've got that we can use for Halloween. Stuff that we've had for a while. It's up to you to use your imagination. One of my favourites is using this character on top of a large building, for example, or it gives off an ominous feel. The other place that this works really well is on the side of the doors. Imagine one on both sides, it looks great. We also have we have the switch for decoration. She works better on the outside of the wall than the in. We have a Wraith Scarecrow, or a Wraith, that gives off a really cool vibe and sets of colours. We have a vampire cutout. It's been around for a while if you want to do a vampire-y house. It may give off some effect or spookiness that you like. We have the coffin vendor, which I think is very effective, especially if it's by a window or a wall. It gives off a pretty light. Excuse me. And just to show you the lights without going into huge detail about hiding your wiring. Ooh, there's a whole bunch of stuff. This is the lighting effect that it has. It's enough to light up almost the whole room. Quite glad it's getting dark outside because it shows the lights off better. Another really good trick for lighting in particular is to hide your lights down here, which I showed you earlier. But there is an alternative if you don't want them all at the base. If you turn the wall into your boss wall, which I have shown before in one of my videos, you will find that you are able to almost countersink these lights. You do need a floor or ceiling above it. There you go. Suddenly it's green, but watch what happens. See how the blue disappears into the wall. Boom. And now that wall's lit. So now I can change that back to whatever I want. Put a wallpaper on. The light is hidden, but the light is giving off a really good thing. But once you remove the roof, it disappears. You'll notice that. What else do we have to show you? The doorbell. I love the doorbell. Like to put it somewhere nice and easy, like that. We also have this is what that doorbell looks like. This year we also have the door. And listen carefully, it's supposed to sound haunted. All creaky and stuff, you know. So very effective. I'll show you again. So we'll come up from the property. So far we have, ooh, look at those clouds. It looks like there's some sort of activity or fire or rebirthing going on. Oh no, those are bats. Ooh, oh look, can I see a vampire in the window? This is the kind of experience I want to give people as they come in. Plenty to do. And that's just, you know, some basics for the outside there. What else have we got that I want to show you when it comes to spooky building? I quite like this chap. Just something about him. He's really cool to use in Western builds. I've built a barn with stalls, and these guys were the horses, along with the Mr. Fuzzy ride. Sometimes I'll stick them on top of a roof, so it's like you're riding off the roof. This fella here is fantastic if you can find a space, just because the sides are all worn and weathered. It looks great for a build like this, especially a Victorian one. And the machine on the back is an old-fashioned, it looks to be an old-fashioned, you know, type of generator or steamer, possibly even a fireplace. So finding a place for that. Back in the old days, the Victorians didn't have bathrooms, they had outhouses, so it would be quite sensible or logical to find something like this and a bathtub and a toilet and a really rough wooden, you know, shack, like so. Another thing that would be quite common would be to have this fella here, probably right next to it. If you haven't seen what this one looks like, this is what happens with the outhouse. And I do believe there are doors you can add. Am I wrong on that? I might be wrong. Looks like it should be edible. Might have to work on that one, loves. Anyway, we're back in our house. And the other thing we've got, of course, which has been out for a little bit, are these characters. You can have a simple dark one like so and add your own lettering. I like this one above the chemistry workbench. It looks like something molecular's going on there. More weapons. Again, this one could be chemistry, especially with the little beaker there and the figures. More weapons. I love this character. It just brings me peace. I like to put it near my bed, or the other logical place to have a canary, right by your mine, because of course in the old days these little birds used to make sure that our oxygen levels were all okay. Don't forget our gypsy fortune teller machine. He can give off a spooky vibe placed in the right situation. And we have our plasma balls, been around for a while. They give off a nice purple glow. We have our display units, and if you've got a solid wall and we put in some wall decor with some light such as that, we could perhaps put in a couple of, straighten it out, and you want them to be quite in front. We may be able to go up and transfer a weapon onto that. Then with any luck, and I'm aware that I haven't lined this up properly, so it may not work. With any luck you can nudge this guy in. Now again, it helps if the wall is boss. For some reason you can do this without needing to flame off your wall. You can just see them poking through. There you go. So they're a little bit out, but you get the gist. Doesn't it look grand, you know, and it's lit. So typically what I would do in a build is I'd actually have that there, and that allows me to get my heights right. Another thing to note is once these guys are up, you can move that around, but if you push those guys in too far, what happens is that the poster will move on its own. Just to show you. Oh, it's not doing it for me today. But that can happen. Right, what else have we got to show you? I'm sure there's plenty more. We've got this fella who's been around for a while. It's a scorched scorched lung or a brain in a jar. I like to add pickled scorched hands and heads and whatnot into displays. This is another new one for me anyway, but I'm sure it's been around. You've got your bat. You've got your cat on the wall, which looks, really good outside along the roof. For example, we have our 2 stories here. Why not put the cat up there, We've got our pumpkin man, which really is something that I'll probably put out here. And this is probably where I'd put the bowl, right underneath. Because, one, nothing's worse than trying to find the stuff you're here for. And you can't find it anywhere. And you spend all your time looking, and then when you can't find it, you go away disgruntled because it cost you caps to get there. So there's a visual trigger for people to see that there's a bowl there. Might be that I want to put that on top of the jar or on top of a table, whatever works. What else have we got? This wasteland gong. Now, if you want it to work properly, make sure that the hammer is on the right side. Okay? If the hammer's not on the right side and you go to use it, you'll see how it doesn't go flush against the wall there. You need a gap. And then when you go to use it, you end up trapped. So be careful. And make sure that you put it facing the right way, because when you're caught like this, it's like, what do you do? There we go. So now people can use that. Maybe that you think it will be better up there, wherever it works for you. What else have I got to show you? I'm sure there is more stuff that I'm forgetting, and I'm sure you guys will let me know. There's also the Halloween Mr. Fuzzy. As opposed to putting him in a display case, I would put him on top of a shelf, because I'm building him. It's not something that I can just add to my junk or collect and then put in a display shelf. I really wish Bethesda would do something with this. It would be really nice to have an alternative. In a Victorian build like this, you'd really want to use an icebox like this, for example. Trying to hide this fella in a Victorian build, not so easy. But if you were doing a spook house, then it's easy. Because, of course, it works really well with the Mr. Fuzzy. And you can either make this really cute and fun and kiddie, day park kind of thing, or you can turn it into something sinister and weird, depending on how you present, the lighting, etc. Up to you again. We've done that. I don't have the bed of nails. I'd love the bed of nails. I thought I had that plan, but for some reason it got taken away from me again. I'm not sure what's going on with that Bethesda. Same thing happened with my chicken coop. And I really don't want to pay for it twice. So, display cabinet like that, you've got your Mr. Fuzzies everywhere. Go in, add more Mr. Fuzzies. Whatever you want to do, make it look cool. And it's kind of a Mr. Fuzzy glory hole. What else have we got? Is there anything I've forgotten, guys? Oh yes, we have quite a neat new thing. Besides our witch's cauldron. Now here's something I'd like to show you. This is a neat little trick I picked up. So, with this guy, the communal fire pit, put it down, and it stacks on top of itself immediately. Alright, turn it. Hopefully it's not exceeded. Okay, so just double check that we're connected. We are there, kind of there. Pick the whole thing up, find a sinkhole. Or use the copper plate trick. Grab the bottom bit, put it on the plate, and watch it sink in. Oop. Okay, we're going to need some power. I keep forgetting that. Alright, now we're powered. The light is green. Right. Now we can put this wherever we want. Maybe we want it in the middle of our room. Oh, I don't know what's happened to that. And then what I wanted to show you is how we can chuck our cauldron on top of it. And it really looks the part. There you go. Be careful when you're deleting things, of course, with this thing, because look what happened. Don't. That's a rebuild, that is. So I hope you enjoyed that little trick. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. At this point in time, I think I've just about covered it all. Please let me know if there's anything else you'd like to see. Besides, you know, putting out a few odd things that looks a bit spooky-ish. Such as maybe, you know, a dead pot plant. Maybe put a candle in that. We have our spooky pumpkins, our angry pumpkins, cactus, which aren't very friendly, and of course we've got our tombstone. So we've got this one with the bat, which I think would suit a vampire build really well, and this one. That one I like to use at weird places like if I had the pipe organ, for example, then we could do this, excuse me, I have some liberators to get rid of. It's a rabbit. Thank you, Maul. I think you got rid of them. And it just adds its extra spooky ambience, you know, along with the lighting. That we can add in. Oh, chuck a spooky figure up on there, eh? This is something I do with a few things, like the special manager, for example. I'll use a dog or a hound or whatever to put on the manager to spruce it up. For this particular thing, I like to do this. I just tuck them in about there. And it's really effective. Usually, come on. Here we go. So, you know, there's a spooky organ made spookier. Okay guys, well those are just a few of the hints and tips and tricks. Of course, also got to show you the curtains. We have the red curtains or the purple, which have been added. I think that's fantastic. Another quick one is the wallpaper. We have this wallpaper, the Grognak wallpaper. And then we get into our haunted house wallpaper. The other thing that's been brought out is the floors. We have the green shag pile carpet. We also have the haunted house wall, tiled wall. We have the Grognak tiles. And we also now have the haunted house centered tile, I like to call that, in the main tile, you know. So I'd use this as the main walkway and use that as the feature in the building. Alrighty, I think I've just about done it. Thank you so much for watching. It's been a long video, but yeah, these are some of my Halloween tips, and I hope that it helps you guys create a super spooky environment, and that you all had a great Halloween. Whatever you do, you know, trick or treat. Bye guys, thanks for watching.